So I will be telling you tonight about your soul's mission, and about something. So yeah, okay. About your soul mission, and about the things that block your soul mission, and how you sometimes get the feeling as if the entire universe is against you living your soul mission, and if not the universe, then the people around you, sort of prohibiting living your soul mission. And I'm going to address that. I am going to tell you things that you should never do, and give you some important advice around your soul mission. Of course, I'm going to explain what your soul mission actually is, and I'm going to talk about some other issues that relate to your soul mission, among others, the point of longing and your core wounding. And I will also give you the opportunity to discover where your core wounding is. So great that you want to that you're in this webinar. So nice to meet you, and I'm really happy to do this. So as I said, I'm going to be sharing that with you. Then I will share, and I've got a little gift for you at the end as well, a PDF around your, or an ebook around your core wounding. And yeah, I think so. Everybody has gotten in now, so I think we can just get started. And I like to officially get started by voicing my intention for this webinar. So my intention is that you get insights into your own soul mission, and that you feel more empowered and more liberated to live your own soul mission. So without any further ado, what is your soul mission? So in a way, as you know, I've studied astrology for practically all my life. And when you look at your birth horoscope, you know, the circle, the horoscope chart, actually every little bit on that horoscope is your soul mission. This is the blueprint of how your soul wanted to live this life on earth. And basically, your horoscope is unavoidable. If you've got your sun in Leo, it's unavoidable that your core essence, the essence of the person, the human being you are on this earth, is of the Leo energy. And I'm saying it's the essence of the person you are, the essence of the human being you are, because obviously all for everyone, we all have this core essence, this true essence that we are, and that is love, that is pure positive energy. But that is what our true essence is. But when we come to live on earth, when we incarnate into a body of flesh, our soul wants to bring with us some, yeah, our soul makes this blueprint of the things it wants to experience. And so when your sun's in Leo, for example, or where your sun is something that your soul has said, okay, I definitely want to experience this. So in a way, your entire horoscope, your entire birth horoscope, is your soul's mission. Everything on it is the mission of your soul to live this. However, when in this webinar I talk about soul mission, I am talking about that which you have come to contribute. So it's that unique mission that your soul has brought to this earth to make the earth a better place, to contribute to society, to contribute to mankind, to contribute to the planet, to contribute to life. So when I talk about soul mission, it is about contribution, about using your talents and skills and your passion and the person you are to make this world a better place. Now, what I had forgotten to add is anytime you have a question for me, I would like you to put it in the Q&A box down below, so that afterwards, at the end, I'll have about 10 minutes to answer your questions. And if you put them in the chat, you know, there's going to be maybe so many people talking in the chat that I won't be able to see all of it. And I can just do it in the question and answer. So I see that Sandra has raised her hand. And yeah, people are asking about the recording. Yes, this will be recorded, and you get a recording afterwards. It's going to be like about 24 hours before you get the recording, but you'll be mailed with the recording. And then Carla is asking me what type of astrology I use. And I don't have a clear answer on that, because I started studying, and this may sound really weird, but I started studying astrology when I was just a tiny kid. And I would just, when I was 7, I would already know all the planets. And so for me, it's been a lifelong process. And I've studied so many different kinds of astrology that I've amalgamated that into my own form of astrology. And you will find some things that I've invented, and I say like this because I don't feel that I've invented it. I feel that it just is knowledge that wants to come through me. Some things that other people have never found, and I've taken some things from this kind of astrology, things from that. So it's basically just my own interpretation of how I think astrology should be interpreted. So yes, let's get on with it. So what is your soul mission then? Your soul mission is that which you are contributing to the earth. And what I need a second. Give me a second, because it is kind of difficult with the chat, because you're like distracted. So I need to get back into my own rhythm. So what I wanted to tell you is why it took so long before anybody discovered this soul mission part in the horoscope. And like I said, I've studied astrology for most of my life. And what I found is that, or what I realized, hey, the sun and the moon always have some sort of correlation. And you may know this. It can be a full moon or a half moon or first quarter, last quarter, and all sorts of other intermediate stages that the moon is in. And I had always wondered, how come that must say something about a certain about someone? Like if you were born on a full moon, or if you're born on the first quarter, or whatever the stage of the moon is, that should say something about you. And up until a really long time, I couldn't find what that was about, until I found this really old book. And it was talking about this specific point. It's called in astrology the point of fortune. And that is actually the point that says something about this correlation between the sun and the moon. And so I was like, yes, there's something about it. And I started reading about it. And then I realized that I would interpret it in a really different way, because they interpret it as a part of fortune. But apart from that part, okay. Yeah, I get distracted from the chat. I shouldn't do that. So that part in the horoscope was in some ancient books, some ancient texts, but it never got picked up by the big astrologers. So why is that? It is because that position in the chart, the point of fortune, or as I like to call it, the soul mission, is a rather explosive part in your chart. And you can imagine, like, 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, or even 200 years ago, that this point, when known, it would have led people to make completely different decisions. And it would have led people to their freedom, to true fulfillment, to money, even to fortune, and to health. And you can imagine that meant that the church or other powers that be would lose their power once other people would, not just when us normal people would find our own power, but also when we actually start to live that which makes the earth a better place, because then who knows what would happen, right? So in the official astrology books that had been, okayed by the church, this point was never added. So they left this out. And the reason why this is so, and also for ages, people just, did what their fathers did. If your father was a blacksmith, you were going to be a blacksmith. If your mother was a maid, you were going to be a maid. And so there was no sense for people to really, take their power and find their freedom in what their soul actually, or in to live what their soul actually wanted to do. And some people were really lucky. Like, for example, if your soul mission is to farm the land and to produce vegetables and things like that, and you were a farmer, then you'd be the happiest person on earth, because you could actually live your passion. But for most people, that was just not the case, and they were forced into some sort of work or job that they didn't feel passionate about, that they didn't love, that they didn't feel that it would really make a difference to other people, or to or to the planet, or to the society. But gradually, with our wealth and with technology, and also with our spiritual awakening, people started to realize there has got to be more than just following in my father's footsteps. And people started to become freer also, as the church was more and more renounced, maybe a big word, but people weren't going to church as much. And then they started to discover that they could do something with their lives that they were actually passionate about. And this is really the big secret of why I started seeing this part of fortune as the soul mission, because it is, the soul mission is that which you are actually so passionate about. That's what you care so much about. And it's the part where your talents and your experience and your passion come together. And it's not just the passion for the thing itself, but then it becomes a passion to contribute that to the world. And if you live that, if you live your passion, you become more, you become fulfilled. That is when you find true joy and true fulfillment, and feeling that your life actually has meaning, that that the world would be lesser without you. And this is really the true meaning of a soul mission for yourself, in the sense that you yourself will become so much richer, or your life will feel valuable, and you'll feel fulfilled and happy. And basically, that is really what we are always searching for. Now, a little bit about myself, because I have been living my soul mission on and off for I think the greater part of my life. But like I said, not everybody is that lucky. I'll get to that later on. But or maybe I shouldn't get to that later on. Maybe I should say what you can imagine is that the soul mission part in your horoscope is not a part that stands alone. It has relations with other planets. And so when you were born, or when you, right before you were born, when your soul was making this blueprint for life, your soul also determined how fast and how easy in your life you would want to live your soul mission. So for some people, and I've done horoscopes for many people and seeing this, and for some people I can tell, it's their soul mission is only meant to come about later in life, after they've had some life experience. And for other people, their soul mission is already really free to be lived early on in life. And that is the case for me, in part though, because there was a large part of my life, or well, maybe not the entire part, but a few years in my life that I was financially ruined, and bad decisions in the past. I'm not going to talk about that, but uh, and then I felt like, oh my God, if somebody would just, give me a big bag of money, then everything would be fine. And I was so unhappy because of my financial situation. And because of that, I sort of started making decisions that were apart from that were not honoring my soul mission, just to be able to make, quick money and to be able to pay the rent and pay for food for my kids. But what I and then you say, and that is like the chasing of money, the pursuing of money, so I've done it, so I'm not blaming anybody. But what you see in our society nowadays, that most people are really pursuing money, and they do almost anything, or at least they do something that they don't love and that they don't feel passionate about, just to make money. And so people are chasing money, people are pursuing money. And that's the the big thing you should never ever do, and I've learned it the hard way. What you should never do is pursue money, is chase money. Because the funny thing is, when you and it's sometimes so scared to actually live your soul's mission, right? Because you're probably going to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, and that you really doubt, oh my gosh, am I going to make money with my soul mission? But the thing is, once you live your soul mission, then and once you are contributing to society, contributing to the planet, contributing to mankind, then the universe will go and say, now we really have to support her. It's like, once you feel fulfilled, the money chases you. So fulfillment makes money chase you. The universe will go, she is contributing, now we will contribute to her. So it's really the other way around of what many people think, that okay, I have to chase money and then I'll be happy, and then because then I can buy everything I want and then I'll find fulfillment. So chase money first. But it really is the other way around. So you chase fulfillment, and not really chase, you just live passionately, you just follow your passion, you follow your bliss, and you find your fulfillment, and then the money finds you. And not just the money, but also health. Because like I said, the universe will then go, oh, she's contributing or he's contributing, now we're contributing to them, now we are going to make sure that they can actually continue living their soul mission. So it won't be just money coming your way, or support coming your way, but it's also health coming your way. So living your soul mission is really the best way to, I won't say to become a millionaire or to become extremely wealthy, because really, is that all you want? Maybe then this webinar is not the right webinar for you, because once you live your soul mission, you feel so fulfilled, you don't even need a Mercedes car or big jewelry or whatever, because the fulfillment comes from within. You don't need all these outside things to give you that fulfillment. So you will get a whole different view on money. And apart from that, if you know how to manifest, you will always be able to manifest that which you want, instead of first needing money to buy that which you want. But that's a whole kind of different webinar. We're not going into that now. And I'm just going to check the time and check my list to see where we are. So yeah, once you live and start living your soul soul mission, you find that wealth, you find the you find you're rich within yourself, and then you don't need any. I mean, you'll get it. And if it's within your soul's blueprint for you to become extremely wealthy, then that's also fine. um so I'm not saying you should renounce money, but you just feel that money just naturally flows to you, health just naturally flows to you, and you don't have to pursue these things anymore. And again, you shouldn't. You should just pursue being happy. You should just pursue being fulfilled, and then the rest will follow naturally of its own accord. Now, having said all that, I do have a strange warning for you, in the sense that if you're now doing something you don't love, if you're like thinking, oh, if you feel this yearning inside, oh, I want to make a big step to be able to live my soul's mission, and my warning actually is, don't take any major abrupt steps. Just change gradually into living your soul mission. Because when you say, oh, I don't like the work I'm doing now, or there should be more, actually what you're telling your soul, what you're telling the universe is, oh, I'm doing all the wrong things. It's not valuable what I'm doing. And now I get to the interesting part that I said this webinar would be about. It's about all the blocks and the wounds that you think are prohibiting you in living your soul mission. So um, if you're in a job right now that you don't like and that you want to get out of, and you're saying, oh, I want to live my soul mission, then start. So sorry. If you're in that job and you're not hating it, no, I'm going wrong. If you're in that job and you're sort of renouncing that job and not realizing how important that job is actually for living your soul's mission. So, okay, I'm going to change this over and start again. Like I said, lots of people experience wounds or blocks, and they say, oh, I can't really live my soul mission. It's like the universe is, or at least the people around me are prohibiting me from living my soul mission. And first of all, like I said earlier, it really depends on your blueprint. So your soul may have intentionally put off you living your soul mission to a later point in life because it wanted you to experience some specific things that would later on add to your soul mission. And so knowing this will give you will sort of make you surrender more into the whole process. Because really, if it had been the intention of your soul to live your soul mission from early on, you would have done it. So it's really not a question of you doing anything wrong. And if you think you're doing anything wrong, then you're not acknowledging all the things that you're learning, all the experience you're gaining, and not realizing that this is actually what you need to fully and powerfully live your soul mission. So let me give you some examples from people that, well, no, let me start on that core wounding, because I promised you to go into that core wounding. So the core wound is, so wounds in itself, I mean, you've been wounded before in your life, and even if it's physical or an emotional wound, after you've healed it, it's done, it's ready. You may have a little bit of a scar, but you're ready and you don't have to address it anymore. And so you think that that would happen with every wound in your life, but that's actually not true, because everybody is born with a core wound, and you can find that core wound in your horoscope as well, in your birth chart as well. And that core wound either started when you were in the womb, during childbirth, in your first years, in the first years of your life. And one could even argue that you brought that core wound with you into this life from a previous life. So this core wound is so big and so massive that it's not something you just heal in one go, but it's an entire process over the course of your life. And so I've seen people from 1951 here, but also people from 1993, and the people from 1993, and they're still early on in this process and maybe not even ready with the full experience of this wound. And but people who were born in 53 or before that will have started healing, or at least people who are here will have started healing parts of that core wound during their life. So the core wound really is a process and an invitation. So where our core wound is in our horoscope, that is unavoidable, but it is avoidable to actually heal it. It's an invitation of your soul to heal it during your life. And like I said, it's a process that will take up the bigger part of your life, if not your entire life, if not the life beyond this even. If you really are not able to, and there's no good or bad. I mean, there's people that I think most people actually do not heal their core wound fully in their life. And you may know people like that, people who are, eternally the victim, or people who um who are always angry, or people who've given up. And those are the people who probably take their core wound into a next life and hopefully find the courage to heal it there. But if you're in this webinar, and if you're interested in these things, you're probably open to healing yourself, and you've probably done some things to heal yourself as well. But in respect to this core wound, this is the thing that keeps coming back and back. And you may say to yourself, oh, not again. I thought, and I hear myself saying that throughout the years, that I go like, oh, I visited this topic so often. Why is it coming back? Why do I really need? But once you know that this core wound is a process, and that it's actually the choice of your soul, because really think about it. If your soul wants to understand something, wants you to really thoroughly experience some aspect of life, the best way to really deeply experience this is to give you a wound in that part, and then make you heal that wound. That is, and then make it into a process. And that way your soul sort of guarantees that you will have experienced and healed and divin into every single aspect of that piece of life that your soul wanted to discover, that your soul wanted to explore. So that is why it is a process. And what you should know is that, and in some horoscope charts, that's more than in others, but for everybody, it means that healing your core wound directly supports you living your soul mission, because your core wound and your soul mission are always related. And like I said, in some horoscopes, they're more related than in others. But your core wounding, so for example, my core wounding is in truth and betrayal. And so I'm seeing that throughout my life and revisiting that throughout my life. But my soul mission is about imparting wisdom, is about imparting, sharing truth and wisdom with the world. So um, so healing this core wound will enable me to live my soul mission ever, deeper. Every time I heal a certain part, I get to add that to my soul mission. And that and that counts for everybody. So healing your soul mission will give a richness, will give a depth to your soul mission. So instead of thinking of this core wounding as something that is impeding you, as something that's like prohibiting you from living the life you think you're intended to live, when you realize that your core wound is actually the thing that is making you rich in love, that is making you grow in love, in forgiveness, in strength, in power, in your soul mission, then you can start to embrace this core wound and really surrender to it, and 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 deliberately start to heal it. Like in the past, you may have subconsciously healed it, but once you start deliberately looking for healing regarding your core wound, you can then take it straight into your soul mission and living your soul mission. Now, and then there's no, what I would like to do, I'm just going to have a look at the chat to see what people are saying, and then I would like to share with you the birth chart of Princess Diana, so I can sort of visualize these things for you. With soul mission, it sounds really important, and purpose. Can you soul mission just to be to experience family, not like inventing or being a diplomat? Yeah, Sally, absolutely. There are so many different kinds of soul missions, and they're actually grouped into 12 different groups, but there's so many variations. So for example, if your soul mission is in the 4th house in your horoscope, then that means it is your soul mission to nurture, to care for, maybe even just to be a mother, to be a hostess, to maybe live of your house, to have like a bed and breakfast in your house, or like you say, just to experience family. That is definitely could be your soul mission. So absolutely not is the soul mission related to becoming famous or whatever, because who knows, and you don't always know why your soul mission is such a big contribution to the earth. And especially in society nowadays, a mother's contribution really is not seen as something significant. But if that is your soul mission, you should discard whatever society is saying, and realizing that what your soul mission is really significant, and it really contributes to the earth. And so it really doesn't mean you have to be a public figure or you have to write a book or whatever. It could be anything. So yeah, and like you said, inventing or diplomat, really a soul mission can be anything. It could be a musician or a politician or an inventor, or it could be anything. So Megan, you were saying your soul mission is in the 11th house in Cancer. So yeah, let me get back to that in the question part to address specific soul missions, because I wanted to I'm now going to share my screen with you because I wanted to show you or to explain all about this by using Princess Diana's birth chart. And I wanted to start with this screen. I totally forgot to tell you that I'm actually the writer of a book. Where did I put the book? So this is the Dutch version of my book on soul mission, and the English version of my book is going to be out in about 6 weeks to 2 months. Yeah, and so you'll be able to order it from liveyoursoulmission.com. But let's go back to Princess Diana's chart. So hopefully you can see Princess Diana's chart. And right now I can't see the chat anymore, so I will get back to that later. So here you can see Princess Diana's birth chart, and her soul mission is right here in the 8th house in Leo. And sorry, I was going to talk about her core wounding, so let me just explain these things first. So this is her entire birth chart, and like I said, that is basically the blueprint of her life. That's what she wanted to live, before she was born, what her soul intended to live. So her soul intended to live her soul mission in the fourth house. But like I said, some points in your horoscope are really unavoidable. Like her sun is in the seventh house. That means she was really focused um, on partnerships. So that's what her sun was about. She was focused on love, on partnerships, on harmony, on bringing harmony to the world. And in Cancer, so she was really focused on caring and nurture, and everybody knows that part about her, about how great a mom she was and how she couldn't leave her children alone. So you can see that here in where her sun is. So that was like unavoidable for her. But your soul mission really is avoidable. So your soul mission really is an invitation from your soul to actually live this, but it is avoidable. So we're going to find out as I analyze her chart to see if she actually lived her soul's mission. But first, let me talk about her core wound. So Diana's core wound was in her second house and in Pisces. And that tells me that, and you're also, did I mention that everybody, you're going to get a PDF where you can find out where your own core wound is and what that tells you and where you need healing. But so for Diana, the core wound was in her second house, and that tells me that like her core values were trampled on, not just as a kid, but also in her adult life, that the values that she held strongly, for example, her values of how to be a mother, were not respected and were trampled on. And she really was undervalued. So the core wound in the second house says that she was just not valued for the person she was, and that wasn't just as a princess, but that was probably in her childhood as well. And this is very interesting because, and obviously we know that from a princess, but people with the core wound in the second house were often not allowed to work or to make their own income. And and they really have a low self-worth. So that is really the big issue with having your core wound in the second house. And then so the core wound is always a mix of two things. So it's the house in the horoscope chart where you are, and it's this where it is, and it's the sign in the horoscope. And the ebook you'll be getting is only for the sign because that's dependent on your birth year. But to know in which house it is, you need to know your birth time, and that's beyond the scope of this webinar, so we won't go there. So her core wounding was in Pisces, and that means that also her boundaries were not respected. So even in her childhood, people kept passing her boundaries, and she was not allowed to keep her own personal boundaries. Also, she was very, very sensitive, but she was not allowed to be sensitive. So she was taught, and well, if you've watched the Netflix series The Crown, you can see that she was like the sensitive person in this more rational world. She was taught to be rational, and her sensitivity was not allowed. And let me see if I have some more things to say about that. Yeah, and she was not allowed to follow her intuition. So she had probably had a really good intuition, but like I said, where she grew up, it was all really mental, rational. So she was not allowed to follow her intuition. So that is where her core wounding lies. And obviously, we don't know about her really about her private life and how much she had done in her life to heal her core wound, but I do think she has done something about it. Now, like I said, her soul mission is in the eighth house. And having a soul mission in the eighth house um, is all about it's actually about different things, but it's about transformation. So her soul mission was to bring transformation to the world. And boy, has she done that. I mean, from my personal opinion, she has single-handedly transformed the royals in the UK. So she's done a really great job of bringing that cancer energy, that more feeling and more sensitivity to the royal house in the UK. But also has she transformed the world when she kissed children who had AIDS in America. That is when she completely transformed the world and showed her, showed her big compassion, and showed the world it is safe to kiss people with AIDS. It is safe to care for them. And when she walked in Africa on minefields, she was transforming the world. She was showing the world this is not acceptable. We have to do something about this. So even with all the problems in her life, and she probably did not think herself that she lived her soul mission, but she definitely lived her soul mission. Now, her soul mission also was about power, and that may be the part where she didn't live her soul mission. And and one thing that I discovered, like I said in the horoscope, is what I call the point of longing. And the point of longing is, well, everybody knows what longing is, really, when you yearn for something. And but the point of longing is always related to the soul mission. So it's where you think, oh, I have to have that, otherwise I cannot live my soul mission. So in my case, my point of longing is in the house of health. And I have some health issues and some physical issues. And for such a long time, I kept thinking, ooh, that is keeping me from living my soul mission. But the thing is, the point of longing is never, no matter how hard you chase that point of longing, it's always elusive, first of all. But even if you get it, then it won't contribute to your soul mission, because it has to come from within. Now, a great example for this, and I think everybody can, know somebody who applies this to, is when you see people who are fishing for compliments all the time and they need validation from outside. And, but that no matter how many compliments you give this person, it will never be enough to give this person fulfillment. We all know that this person needs to validate himself, that he needs to compliment himself, that he needs to love himself. And so it has to come from within. And so the point of longing needs to be addressed from within and not from without. But so Diana's point of longing is also in the eighth house. And so Diana longed for power. Diana longed for transformation. And that's why I'm saying she probably didn't realize how much she's transformed the world. She didn't realize that herself. But she longed for power. She longed for power over her own life. And like I said, she probably felt that because she didn't have power over her own life, she wasn't able to live her soul's mission. But for her, the root was to find her own power, to find her inner power, and to really be, to connect to, well, to that essence that we all are, to her soul, and to really live the power of her soul, and to consciously and deliberately live her soul mission. So she just lived it, but not as deliberate as she probably wanted to, and probably thought she could. And by the way, what the 8th house point of longing also tells me is that she was longing for intimacy, because the 8th house is also about sex, intercourse, but also intimacy. So what she really longed for was intimacy, and what she probably also longed for was to have more children. So I'm guessing also since her son was in Cancer, that was one of the big hidden pain points in her life, that she didn't have more children. So having explained that, let me see if there's anything that I haven't addressed yet. Yeah, so I wanted to say that that point of longing can actually be really dangerous. So, for example, Hitler had his point of longing in the 3rd house, which meant for him the longing was to be accepted, the longing was to be heard, the longing was to be seen, and he had it in Capricorn, which means his longing was to be on top. His longing was to achieve something important. And when people really pursue their point of longing to the extremes, and that is actually, so what happened with Hitler is that he completely misinterpreted his soul mission, which actually was pretty beautiful, and that he fully went for his point of longing, and chasing his point of longing, and with devastating effects to the world. Well, we all know about that. So if you want to get your the free PDF to find out where your core wounding is, go to whatever, it should be on the screen, www.liveyoursoulmission.com. And then a bit, and there you can also see a video there where I talk about that point of longing, and also in relation to Hitler and to Obama. But so a bit further on that page, you can find where you can get the PDF. And hopefully in a few weeks when the book comes out, you'll want to buy the book. That would be absolutely great. So if I stop sharing, yes, I can look at the questions. So let me go to the questions here and let's see. Yeah, so one of the, and I see Hetty is saying something about regression therapy. Like I said, the core wound can be something that was brought back from a previous life into this life. So regression therapy is really good at finding, at getting to the core of your core wound, of healing your core wounding. And Diana's asking, how do you know what your soul mission is, and what if you feel no passion for anything in particular? And it may be that passion may have just not gotten out yet. Like I said, there may be prohibiting factors in your birth chart that because your soul wants you to find out only later, and then if you find out, it'll be like this epiphany. But how do you find out your soul mission? So that, like I said, some people just stumble upon it, which happened in my case. But you can, and I can show you the Dutch version, you can buy my book, because in my book, I will, and really that's really too much work to put into a webinar, because it is a bit complicated. So I'm giving you an easy way and a more difficult way to find that code in your horoscope that leads you to your soul mission. And then you can find the house where your soul mission is, and you can find the sign where your soul mission is. And when you combine these two, and combine it with everything that with your core wound, and with everything that you've experienced in your life, then you will find where your soul wants to lead you in your soul mission. So Annika is saying, is it possible that you still have the core wound from a past life active in this life? Yes, absolutely. Yes. So like I said before, it sometimes takes several lives for someone to heal their core wound. And that like I said, again, there's no good or bad in that. It's a process, and your soul won't mind if you don't get to it this life. You'll get to it in the next life. But since now you know about it, you can't go back anymore. So, but yeah, so it definitely can be from a past life. And Sandra's asking, how can you find your soul mission in your horoscope? Well, again, my book, um, and um, and there's like literally hundreds of people who signed up for this webinar, so I really can't address everybody personally to see where their soul mission is. And if your souls are side by side, was that mean that your pain is your mission? Yes. So if your soul mission and your core wounding are conjunct, as we say in the horoscope, then it really does mean that your core wounding is directly influenced on your soul mission. And it doesn't mean that living in pain is your soul mission. It means that the healing is your soul mission, but also what you gain through that healing is what you can contribute back to the world. So how can you distinguish your point of longing with what you think will bring you joy? That is a very good question, Anna. If you're not yet living what lights you up, the difference between the point of longing and what you think that brings you joy is really, actually, you say it, it's what lights you up. If you think of course, if you think of whatever, if your point of longing is, for example, in the material world, and you feel that you're longing for a Mercedes or longing for wealth and luxury, you sort of feel that would make you happy. So the longing does light you up a little bit. But if you really, like, for example, in a meditative state, question your thinking. Why do I want this? And if your soul mission is in that part of your chart, being really wealthy could be part of your soul mission. So, but if you question it, why do I want to be rich? Why do I want all these luxuries? And then you can find what lies beneath. And for example, you probably also know the people who have like all this outer wealth, right? They live in the right neighborhood. They drive the perfect big car, and they're much less as the other people who always need compliments. They're more like, showing off their wealth. And what they're actually looking for is their own value, their self-worth. And they feel like they need all these luxury things to tell them that they're really worthy, but they have to discover for themselves that they're worthy. So really look within to see what you are chasing, if you're chasing your point of longing or if you're actually chasing your soul mission. And if we manage to find it, could you make a detailed birth chart? Yes, Karina, thank you for that. I do offer soul mission sessions, but I haven't put them on the site yet, not on the English site anyway. In Holland, I already offer them. So I will get them up as soon as possible. If you get that ebook, I will give you a notification when you are able to book a soul mission consultation. And then Iris is asking me, what is the difference between the big and the little book? And so you mean, let me see if I got it here. No, I don't have it. So the big book is the soul mission book, and the little book is the book about the point of longing. So the point of longing is not in the soul mission book. It's a separate book that tells you what your point of longing is. So I hope I answer that question. And then Anna says, I think money is somehow related to my core wound, which is yeah, self-worth makes sense. Okay, great. Thank you. And let's see. And Megan, I promise to get back to you. So your soul mission is in your 11th house in Cancer. So Cancer tells me that your soul mission really is to nurture, to cherish, to embrace, to love, to help grow, to be a mother. So that really that loving, caring, protecting. I almost forgot the word protecting. To protect. So all these qualities are qualities of your soul mission, and you're having your soul mission in the 11th house tells me that your soul mission could be on either of the things that I'm about to say. So it could be on the topic of technology, internet, um, everything that has to do with progress, and then everything that has to do with the future. So your soul mission could be, you could be a very good trend watcher, for example. So it has to do everything with the future, about having a vision for the future. It also has to do with visualizing, and from that, manifesting. So bringing that which is into your future into the now. And then your soul mission could also have to do with networks, and it could be like technological networks, but it could be people networks. It could be your friends, or it could just be groups of people. So your soul mission could be, in your sense, if I combine the two, it could be that you are caring for large groups of people. So for example, you could be a chef in a hospital, or you could be a chef in a sports club, or things like that. So for larger groups of people, that would be your soul mission. And then Raf is saying mine is in Libra in the 6th house. And Raf, I don't know. Ah, yeah. So that, and you're saying your core wound is in Aries in the 12th. Not sure what this means. So having your core wound in the 12th house is similar to what I said about Diana. That it has to do with people stepping over your personal boundaries, and that you are not allowed to be sensitive, and that you are not allowed to follow your intuition. And your core wound being in Aries has to do with that you were not allowed to assert yourself, that you were not allowed to be independent, that you even feel that you don't have the right to exist. So that is what your core wound is about. And your soul mission in Libra in the 6th house. So in Libra, it tells me your soul mission has to do with partnerships. So you could be a one-on-one coach. And like I said, for Megan, that she should work with groups, but you should work in one-on-one settings, or even or with your own personal partner, a private partner. You are really good at making other people shine. You're good at bringing harmony. So you bring harmony and balance to the world, and you bring love to the world, and you're a great peacemaker. So you could also be a mediator, for example. And then you were saying it's in the 6th house. So that tells me your soul's mission is all about organization. It's all about rhythm. It's about health. It's about habits. So you could be a counselor for people to get more organized, or you could be a counselor to help people get into good habits, or to lose weight. And so things like that could be that for you. So Sally's asking, if you heal your soul, your core wound, do you die? And will, if you're, oh, let me read this first. So okay, so she says, so Sally is asking, if you heal your core wounding before you die and your soul is old, does that mean you won't reincarnate again? Not necessarily. So it really depends on, even though your soul is old, that doesn't mean that it wants to stop experiencing Earth. So So it could just say when it's back into the non-physical after this life, even after you've healed your core wound, it's back into the non-physical, and it will go like, look at the pie of all the aspects of life and saying, I actually want to live that a bit more further. And then even though you've healed all your previous wounds, it would then go into life and really get wounded again to really experience that specific tiny part of life. So it really depends on the eagerness of your soul, if it wants to return to earth or not, or if it wants to go on in the non-physical and develop further in the non-physical. So there's really no black and white answer to that. And then somebody saying the website liveyoursoulmission.com doesn't work. That is so strange. Liveyoursoulmission.com. Yeah, maybe I just tried it and it's working. So maybe you can try it again. And then Mega says, I actually worked in hospitals in physical and mental health, caring and looking after other people and looking after people. Yeah, so that is great to know, Megan. And that also leads me to another point. Oh, I'm seeing we've run over time, so I'll keep it short. But that also leads me to another point that I haven't said yet. Sometimes you're inadvertently living your soul mission already, but your soul mission wants to grow as well. So it's never the intention of your soul to really start doing this and then your entire life keep doing that. So your soul wants to grow in that. It wants to find depth in that. So having done that, Megan, you can now find like a step up to that and see how you could maybe bring the healing of your core wound more into your soul mission, or how you can bring love and forgiveness into your soul mission and really take it one step further. So this is, and I see that in my life as well. Like I said, I've been living my soul mission for about 23, 24 years. But I'm taking steps in that as well and growing in that and seeing that it's changing as I change, as I heal, and as I gain more understanding. And Joyce has given a different website if you can't, if it doesn't work from that. And then Beata says, could it be from another person, not you? But it does say the astrology empress. So that is actually me as well. So that's the alias that I've written the book under. And okay, and that was all the questions, I think. Or let me see, have I missed one? Joyce is asking a really good question. So which symbol on the chart points to your core wound? So that is Chiron. That is, the symbol of Chiron is, oh, no, I haven't got it printed out, but it's a K with a little circle underneath. So that will show that. And then Hilda, yeah, if you don't mind, I can go on a little bit longer. Hilda says, my soul's mission is in the 10th house. So that tells me that part of your soul mission is really to get the best out of yourself and maybe even to get the best out of other people. You are a great manager. So one of the things you contribute this world, what you contribute to this world, is to just manage people. So really managing could also be a soul mission, seriously. And also a 10th house soul mission is also somebody who prepares the road for other people. So who could be the first one in doing something, like the first woman to do this or that, or the first child to do this or that. So, and it could be literally that you literally are a person who makes streets. So you pave the road for other people, or you open the road for other people. And then your core wounding in the 11th house, that tells me that so your core wound is also is a lot about that you were not allowed to fantasize, that you were not allowed to visualize, that you were not allowed to really look forward to something. Like, for example, kids look forward to Christmas and they're thinking, oh, Father Christmas is going to give me this and that. And then your mom or your dad would say, well, really, I wouldn't get my hopes up because, that's not going to happen because it's the Santa can't afford it or something like that. So that's every time you were looking forward to something, you've been pushed back. So your core wounding is actually in manifesting, in looking forward to something. But again, you will find it also in the PDF that I'm giving you. And then Brenda is asking me, what does it mean when the strongest longing is not to be on earth, not from a suicidal point of view, but deeply longing to return and not really feeling in a great place since birth? Yeah, that could mean that your point of longing is in the 12th house or in Pisces. What it means is that you should find your home in yourself. So if you really find your connection to source, your connection to your soul within yourself, then the longing falls away. Because, like I said, I didn't say that, but if you that what you were longing for, if you find it within yourself, then the longing falls away. Then you don't need that anymore. And then somebody whose name I don't know says my soul mission is in the 6th house. So I already said something about the 6th house. It's about organization, about health, about rhythm, and about habits. And the point of longing in the 10th house. So the point of longing in the 10th house really is somebody who needs to validate themselves, who needs to so they're always trying or reaching out for the top, reaching out for the best, but you should feel that you are already the best, that you are already perfect the way you are. And that is for you the way to heal your point of longing. And so Diana says, I always wanted to be a good mother. I did that, and I'm left wondering what now. So Diana, there's been so many people now that I can't remember what your soul mission was. But like I said before, if that was motherhood, then see how can you take that a step further? How can you do that? Or you could be saying, okay, now I'm going to do a bed and breakfast in my house. Care for people who come to my house, for example. And Annika is asking me, will everybody understand the book and find what you explained here? Well, in the book, you will find all about the soul mission, not about the core wound. I have yet to write a book on that. Will everybody understand the book? I like to think so, but I did make a really easy way, because it is quite difficult to calculate where your soul mission is, but I've also put in an easy way where you can use an app on the internet to find out where your soul mission is. And then I have a worksheet with the book, and then you can find it step by step. And then Texas Rocks is asking, is it being recorded? Yes, it is. So you can get that. And then how do I find my soul mission? Yet, like I said, it's in the book, but you can find it in your horoscope if you know how to find where your part of fortune is. But you have to get it right, because some horoscopes will give a wrong calculation for the part of fortune. Then Aletta is asking a really good question. Can you still make a reasonably precise horoscope if you don't know the hour in which you were born? Now, of course, precision is about the minute you were born. However, it really depends on the horoscope, because sometimes if you have like a window of about 1 or 2 hours, it can be still relatively precise. And and it will still give you, like I said, you don't need your birth hour to calculate that one part of your core wound. And the same goes for your soul mission. So you will be able to say a little bit about your soul mission if you have, a ballpark idea of the time when you were born. If not, and by the way, you can get the time when you were born. If you don't have it, you can get it at your birth register at, I think, the municipality where you were born. But I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, or a professional astrologer can help you find out when you were born exactly. And when I was doing the research for the book, I noticed that one of my friends, she'd given this birth time, and I was calculating her horoscope, and I was looking at her soul mission and her part of longing, and I was like, really, this doesn't, it doesn't fit for me. And then I moved her birth time with 1 minute, and then it completely fit. So I told her that. I said, you're probably born a minute earlier. And she's my age, so at the time, they didn't have like we have now with our Apple or smartphones or whatever. Could be that the clock in the hospital was 1 minute early or late. I don't remember what it was, but so that is an astrologer can help you figure out what the precise moment was of your birth. And then somebody's asking, what is the symbol for your soul mission and your part of fortune? So I'm going to have to show it to you like this. This is the symbol. So you're going to be looking for this. So Laura is asking me, does everyone have a core wound? Yes, absolutely. Everyone has a core wounding. So every soul wants this, like I said, the entire horoscope is in a way your soul mission, and your soul always wants to live your sun. Your soul wants to live your moon, and your soul wants to live that piece, that piece of wounding, that piece of life where your wound is. But so where the wound is, that is unavoidable, but you're not obligated, or it's not mandatory or whatever to actually live it. It's avoidable to heal it. It's avoidable to heal it. And yeah, so I guess that was it. And I've run 15 minutes late anyway, so sorry about that. Let me see what Anna says. So if you want to go, feel free. Thank you for joining. It's been my pleasure. And again, the website is www.liveyoursoulmission.com, and there you can get your the free ebook on the core wound. And then somebody's asking, what is it in Dutch? In Dutch is kernwond. And Anna is saying, I'm really excited about this. Thank you for a wonderful webinar, an ebook. Great. Well, you're welcome. Yes. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I wish you all a sourceful evening, a sourceful life, and really, I hope that you get to live your soul mission and you get to heal your core wound in this life. And I really hope that you never think of the blocks as impeding your soul mission, but actually helping your soul mission and helping you empower yourself to live your soul mission.